Guys, welcome to the Pro Tools 101 crash course. I am so excited for you guys to be here because this will be an amazing first step in your guys' musical journey to just learning how to record on your own and to using Pro Tools and learning everything you need to know just to get yourself up and running, because there's a lot to Pro Tools, I'm not gonna lie, but this whole course will probably be the most comprehensive tutorial that you see on getting yourself from zero, from nothing, to being able to actually record a full song and learning all the basics. So as far as my understanding, I have yet to see any video on YouTube right now that is going to show you from A to Z the whole process on how to literally download Pro Tools, what happens, what you should do next, and everything that you need to know from the moment you download Pro Tools to the moment you start recording. And so I just wanted to create this for y'all because, like I said, I don't think there's enough videos out there on YouTube that do Pro Tools justice, because the one thing I see with YouTube is that there's a lot of like one-off videos on how to do very specific things, right? Whether it be, how to enable recording in Pro Tools, or how to download Pro Tools, or how to do very specific things. But this will literally be a video of me holding your guys' hand and going through the entire process. Like, I created a whole new email for this so I can re-download Pro Tools, show you literally what happens at every single step. Like what are the messages that are going to pop up on the screen, how to download it to your computer, what access do I have to grant to Pro Tools for it to run properly, and then how do I download beats, what beats should I get, how do I look at beats, like literally everything you need to know to the point of you starting to actually record. So I'm going to go over all this right now, and I'm going to break this up in a few segments. So I just have my notes on screen right here, so bear with me. We're going to go from A to Z on how to download your software, the main menu on how to actually set up the settings for Pro Tools, a lot about file management, because file management is very important to making sure that you know where everything is, you know where all your songs are, and you know how to find everything and what everything means. How to download beats and another application that I use to do that in terms of just converting stuff off of YouTube. We're going to be going over how to actually build a template, because in Pro Tools, you're going to see that there's going to be certain tracks that we create that are going to load up every single time you start Pro Tools to make your life easier, so you can just go in there and start recording. So I'll show you guys all the different tracks, how they're all connected and all that good stuff. And then lastly, I'm going to be showing you guys how to actually record. So all the little nuances and buttons you need to click to make that happen. And then I'll actually show you guys a few little like troubleshooting things that we can go over. So let's just get into it. So let's start by going on Avid, which is the company that owns Pro Tools. And let's just start by actually downloading Pro Tools to our computer. Okay, so let's download Pro Tools. So you're going to go into Google and you're just going to type in Pro Tools. Okay? If I can actually type correctly. Pro Tools, and all of this will pop up. You're going to scroll down to where you see all of this. I just want to show you guys the different versions of Pro Tools first. So Pro Tools actually has 4 different versions, 3 paid and 1 free. I'm going to be setting you guys up with the free version, because the free version will give you everything you need to actually get yourself recording. Because all these other versions right here is if you just want to have more audio tracks. But for what you guys are going to be doing, you just need a few tracks to just record your song. Because mind you, this is a very basic overview on how to get recording in Pro Tools. So I'm assuming that all of you guys are either switching over to Pro Tools and you just want to learn how to use it, or you guys are in the very beginning of your musical journey and you just want to get set up so you can just get something out there. So I actually wouldn't recommend getting one of these 2 versions until, let's say, you either get into using plugins and you want to create more tracks, or you get into mixing or producing. That's when you can then look towards actually upgrading and seeing how having more audio tracks may actually benefit you. But for this, the good thing about Pro Tools is they actually have a free version. So you're just going to click download now, and now it's going to ask you for your email. So perfect. So what was the email I created? Me trying to remember my email. I think I called it Testing Soko Inc. or Test Soko Inc. Okay, bicycles, go through all the security questions. Okay, that should be good. Okay, continue. And then you're going to just enter in all your personal information. So Ben, Soko, United States, and then you're going to create your password, okay? So obviously create your password. So do that now. Okay, and after you create your password, you're going to scroll down. You're going to see where it says, do you have an iLock account? No, we do not. Essentially what iLock is, it is the, so in order to use Pro Tools or have any plugins, Pro Tools is a license that you are allowed to just use. So Pro Tools gives you the license to actually download it to then use it. iLock is their license manager. So it's a whole separate application that controls the licenses to actually activate Pro Tools. So do you have an iLock account? No, we do not. So we're going to click continue. And now it's just setting up our account. So perfect. So you're going to let that do its thing. No, I don't want to save any password to my computer right now. Perfect. So now this screen will pop up and it's just going to ask you to now install Pro Tools Intro. But before we actually open up Pro Tools itself, we need to download something called Avid Link, which is another application you need to have on your computer that also controls access to then downloading Pro Tools and be able to actually use it. So we're going to click download Avid Link. Perfect. So you see it downloading now. We're going to open this up. Downloads. Download it. Boom. You're going to click allow. Continue. Install. Close application. Install. Now it's going to ask you for your computer password. And mind you, this is all on the Mac. So if you guys have a Mac, you guys can follow along. But I'm sure it's very similar in PC, where it's going to ask you to download it. Probably ask you to allow Pro Tools to just run. Because after we download this, there's going to be a few things that we have to do in our security settings to allow Pro Tools to run behind the scenes and to actually download everything it needs to download. And so yeah, so let's let this install. So mind you guys, like I'm literally showing you guys every single step because I don't want there to be any confusion. I don't want none of y'all coming back to me being like, how do I download it or what do I do next? I'm showing y'all step by step. This is how you do it. So watch very closely and literally just follow everything that I'm doing. Maybe over time, all these things might change a little bit, but this is pretty much how it's going to be. So after you finish downloading it, it's probably just going to, well, there you go. It's just going to open up Avid Link right away. So you're going to go down to products. Okay. You're going to go down to Pro Tools and you see how Pro Tools is already downloading. You're already set. And if anything, it may ask you if you want to download Pro Tools right away, and then there might be a message that pops up. Just click yes. Other than that, just click on products and just wait for it to finish downloading. And then after that, we should be good to go. Okay, so Pro Tools is now installing. So it just finished downloading. So we're gonna wait till it's finished installing and then it should automatically open up. So let's just wait for this to just do its thing. Okay, so after Pro Tools is done installing, we're just gonna go ahead and open it up. So you're just gonna click open and it should automatically open up Pro Tools at the bottom of your screen. When you click open, if a message like this pops up either before or after you click open, fill in all of your details to give permission for Pro Tools to do what it has to do to run in the background. Because I know Mac has all these like security things like, oh, if you're downloading something off the internet, are you sure you want to give it permission to access this folder or access this part of the computer? Just click yes. It's okay. That's what it needs to do in order to run in the background. So that being said, we're going to allow access. So I'm just going to put in my information from my computer. Okay, install helper. So now background items have been added. So perfect. Look, so Avid Pro Tools added items that can run in the background. So I was just going to do its thing. And we've installed the helper now, right? After we do that, we should just be able to open up Pro Tools. So let's actually click down here on Pro Tools. Let's see what pops up. Beautiful. So now Pro Tools is now opening. So you can actually now close out Avid Link. We're going to quit that. Just kind of minimizing everything. So perfect. So we are currently met with the with the template with Pro Tools, right? I already have a template in here, so disregard that. It'll probably say something else in this title here. Does not matter, okay? So we are now on the main menu. So for this module, I'm going to be showing you guys all the settings you need to know in order to get Pro Tools up and running properly. So let's start with all the settings that are on the screen right now. So this is the exact screen you're going to be met with every time you open up Pro Tools to start a new project. So if we look on screen, you're going to see getting started, which this is the screen that will probably pop up when you first open up Pro Tools, but you're just going to click on new, and then it's going to be on this screen. And then this is the screen that you're going to be met with every other time after this time. So on the screen, you're going to see a few different things. Session, Sketch, you don't have to worry about this. Sketch is like a whole nother version of Pro Tools that like, you don't have to worry about it. I haven't even used it yet. You're going to click on Session because we're starting a new session or a new project. Down here, local storage is fine. And now here, when it comes to naming your project, this is how I like to name my projects, okay? So we are actually going to deselect this for now. And we're going to erase this and we're going to name our projects, okay? The way I like to name my projects, it usually starts with the artist name, song name, and the date that the project is created. So let's just say my artist name is Soko. Okay, so Soko. My new song that's coming out is called One for All. And I always separate it by underscores. And today's date at the time of recording this is May 18th, 2024. Or not 2014. A long time ago. It was 10 years ago. Okay. 2024. We are not going to click this create from template just yet, but we will select that after we create the template, and I will show you guys how to do that. But for now, just type in your artist name, song name, and the date that you're creating it, okay? If you want to switch up the naming convention, that's totally cool. This is just how I do it. This is how I've always done it, just to keep myself organized so I can be able to find everything. So now here, this is actually, all this right here are all the templates that are already preloaded with Pro Tools. I created this recording template before that I will actually give you guys as a nice little gift for taking this course. But I will show you guys how to actually create it from scratch so you guys actually know what's going on under the hood. So this is just where all your templates will pop up, so you can ignore that for now. And now let's go down to these settings right here. You always want this to be on WAV, because WAV is the best, an uncompressed file. That's what we like to see. Bit depth, 32-bit float, sample rate, 48 is good. And going any higher just becomes negligible and the file sizes increases and you really don't need anything higher. So either 44 or 48 is just perfectly fine. These are my settings right here, 32, 48. Same thing, worked on that forever. When you come down to this bottom section, make sure prompt for location is selected, because as you're about to see right now, once we create the project, it's going to ask us, where do you want to save this song? Where do you want to save this folder? And that, my friend, is where the next part of this comes in. So we're actually going to move this to the side for 1 second. So when it comes to actually saving your projects, you want to create a folder, any folder, called Sessions, Studio. I already have one here called Studio Sessions, but I'm gonna do this from scratch. So we're actually gonna put that aside. So let's just say you want to name it Songs. It could be anything. I named the other one Studio Sessions. This one will be named Songs. This will now be the centralized folder where all of your projects are going to come into and going to be saved. Because when you create a song within Pro Tools, like the way we are on the right here, when it says our song title and everything, when you click this create button, Pro Tools will actually automatically create a whole nother file to save everything within that. And that file will then be saved to your original file that we created called Songs or Sessions. So let me show you this. So now that we created a folder called Songs, we're going to click Create, okay? So now this right here is asking us, where do you want to save this folder? Where do you want to save this song? Under my Songs folder. Pretty straightforward. For you, it might be Studio Sessions or named whatever. But in this case, it's going to be called Songs. So we're going to click Save. So once you click Save, Pro Tools opens up as a blank template. There's literally nothing. You see all this gray space right here? There's nothing here. There's no tracks present at all. And I will actually show you guys one step at a time how to actually create all the tracks within here. But for a second, let's actually go back to the file. So let's open up our songs folder where we are now currently saving all future projects. When you open up the songs folder, you can see that Pro Tools has automatically created a whole other folder just for that song. And look, just how I named it, Soko One for All, May 18th we started this, and done. And every single time you create a new song, after going through that menu and you click create, it's going to start to populate one after another, after another, after another. Let me just show you an example of this. If I go to my other studio sessions folder, I created 2 projects. So every time you create a new song, this is how it'll look. So the other day I created Be With You on May 6th, and then I created another song after that also as a demo right underneath it. And this is how all your projects are going to look like. They're going to be stacked on top of one another, named by the artist name, song title, and date. And then you can just scroll through and find which song you're looking for. So in this case, we just have that one song, okay? So let's actually open up this folder and let's actually see what's in it. Well, what does Pro Tools actually put within this folder that it created? Well, good question, you may ask. Within this folder, there's a few things, okay? There's going to be a folder called audio files, and this audio files folder consists of every single audio file that's within the session. Bounced files is actually going to be the exported song after you're done working on it. So once you're done working on your song and you export it, that's what it's going to be saved in. And in the world of music, we call it bounced, like you're bouncing the song. So if you ever hear me or somebody else say, all right, we're done, let me bounce the song for you, that just means let me export the song for you. Same thing. So that's what that means. When we bounce the song, it goes into our bounced files. And this is where you can then drag and drop this onto your desktop and save it to your phone and listen to it in the car. Clip groups, I actually still have no idea what this is. I've never touched it. I've never used it. I never pay any attention to it. So it's kind of irrelevant if I'm really keeping it real. Session file backups. This is probably one of the most important subfolders within this folder, because this right here is because your session will periodically automatically save, like every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't know what it is, but we can change that within Pro Tools. So if you ever mess up something really bad, or you want to pull up an older version of the session, you can actually go in here, and in here will be all of the previous sessions that it automatically saved, and you can click on one of them and go back. So let's just say if 10 days ago you're like, damn, like I hate what I did now. Let me go back to 10 days ago of where I started. You can just click on that session from 10 days ago and open it up and then just resave it. Right here, usually, I don't know why this is showing white, because this would actually show the Pro Tools logo or something similar to a Pro Tools logo. And this PTX file just stands for Pro Tools, just like how you have a JPEG for photos or for a Word document. Then that has its own extension. Pro Tools is a PTX file. So if anyone ever says, hey, let me send you the PTX, that just means let me send you the session. And this is what that is. And so this is what you would actually double click on to then open up the session. So let me actually show you how that looks like. So let's close out Pro Tools real quick. Okay. All the other folders disappeared because we had nothing within the session, but don't worry about that. I just want to show you what happens when you click on the actual PTX file. So let's just say you're done for the day, right? You close out Pro Tools and you come back to it the next day and you want to reopen up that project. You're going to go back into this folder, and in this folder, you're going to click on the PTX file, okay? The one that has all the information. So double click it, and now Pro Tools will reopen it up back to the session, just like if you're going to open up a Word document or open up a photo. It's the same concept. So now Pro Tools will actually load in everything that you had within that session, and it'll bring you right to where you left off. So boom, perfect. So now that you know how to name your files and where it's saved and what everything is, now we can actually close that out and focus our attention on the actual software itself. And the one thing I would say is you want to make sure that over time, as you continue to work on more and more projects, you want to continue to make backups of your current hard drive, okay? Because it is not a good idea to have every single thing saved on one hard drive, because God forbid something happens to that hard drive, you lose it, it crashes, you spill something on it, you will not be able to recover anything. So you always want to make sure periodically, once a month, twice a month, once every other month, that you're actually backing up your current hard drive to another hard drive. I like to back it up twice. So I have a current SSD, solid state hard drive that I work on, and then I back that up to 2 other hard drives. So then those 2 other hard drives have copies of the song. And that way you can be sure that if anything ever happens to one hard drive, you'll have another one. Another kind of nerdy thing I would suggest is that for those of you that want to work off of a hard drive, off an external hard drive, that's something I would say to get an SSD, okay? An SSD stands for a solid state drive, for those of you that don't know. And what that means is it's just a faster hard drive. So it allows you to work more freely. It is a little more expensive, but it's definitely worth it in terms of when you're actively working on a song. But when it's time to back up your songs to other hard drives, you can save a little bit of money and get other regular hard drives, which I think are just HDD. So yeah, that's really what you need to know for that. Okay, so now that we're back in Pro Tools, we covered file management, how to name it, what do all the files mean, how to open up the PTX file to get back to your session. Now we're actually within Pro Tools. And I'm actually going to show you guys how to now build your very own template and what everything means. Because if you've ever seen sessions or Pro Tools sessions, you'll see that everything seems to be all over the place and it's kind of confusing. But I want to take you guys from the bare bones of nothing, which is what you're looking at right now, okay? Once we start building this template, after I show you guys how to create every single track and what they mean and how it works, I will then show you guys how to actually download beats, because obviously you can't start making music unless you download a beat. So let's get into it. So there's a lot of information on the screen. It's kind of confusing. You don't need to know everything on here. I'm just going to be showing you guys the very basics of what you need to do to just get recording, okay? So let's start by creating a track, okay? Because right now, this is just blank. There's nothing on here. This is a blank canvas. So you're going to go up to track. You're going to click new, and you're going to click so on here, you'll see that says new tracks, and it gives you some information, okay? How many do you want to create? Just one for now. Do you want mono or stereo? What you have to know is mono just means it's going to put everything down the center. So when you listen to music, there's things that are down the center and things that are on the side, okay? Vocals are always down the center unless you're doing some kind of backgrounds, but you don't need to worry about that. Just remember that your lead vocals are always in the middle. So that's what we're going to do right now. So mono, perfect. It is a regular audio track, perfect. That's okay. And we're actually going to rename this to record, okay? And we're going to click enter, okay? So Pro Tools automatically creates this track for you after you click enter. And as you can see, this is the track, okay? As you can see, there's actually nothing on here. So this is where all of your audio is going to go, or some of your audio. On the left side, you're going to see the title of the track. You're going to see a few buttons here, waveform, and I'm going to go over all this in a sec here, okay? But the way this works when we record is, and this is how I was taught, is that you want to have a dedicated record track. So this is where you're actually going to be actively recording your tracks before you drag it down to another vocal track that may have some plugins on it. So now that we have this first track created, which is right here, we're going to create another one. So go up to track, click new, and now we're going to create another track in mono, because now we're creating our lead vocal tracks. So your lead vocals, which is your main vocals that you're going to be hearing. And we're going to create two of those. So where it says create, you're going to put a number 2. So perfect. Mono, because it's down the center. Audio track, that's fine. And we're going to name this lead, okay? Standing for our lead vocals. So we're going to click create. So now 2 more tracks popped up. And now you can see how the session is starting to build out. So now we have a track where we're going to be recording everything, and the 2 lead vocal tracks where our vocals are going to be sitting after they have been recorded. And I'll give you a demo at the very end on how to actually record, because that will really kind of show this off and will make a lot more sense, okay? So right now we have a record track, our lead tracks, perfect. We are going to now create another track. So track, new, and we're going to call it backgrounds, because a lot of times people have their lead vocals, but they want to do either backgrounds or ad-libs. So we're going to name this track. So we're going to keep it in mono. We're going to name it, let's call it backs/ad, I don't know how to spell ad-libs, okay? Because this will either be backgrounds or regular ad-libs, depending on what you want to do. Perfect. So now ad-libs and our 2 lead vocal tracks. And you can hopefully start to see how this is starting to organize everything, because once you record all your vocals on here, if they're lead vocals, you're going to drag them down to here in here. If they're ad libs, you're going to drag them down here. And now every single type of audio has its own place. It has a home, right? Because you don't want to put your ad libs and backgrounds and leads all on one track, because it's going to be very hard to do that, and it's going to be very disorganized. You want to make sure you can see where everything is. So all the backgrounds in the song, okay, where are they at? Let me look on the left side. I see backgrounds and ad libs. Perfect. So that means that's where all my ad libs are. Okay, where are my lead vocals? Oh, I see lead 1 and lead 2. That's where my lead vocals are. Perfect. And everything has a place. Okay. So now we have 4 vocal tracks. Okay. Now we're going to create something called auxiliary tracks. And what this is this is just another track that will allow you to put more plugins if you wish to do so. And plugins is a whole nother course and a whole nother conversation we can get into. But I want to show you guys how to create these auxiliary tracks, where these current tracks right here, where the lead track and the backgrounds is going to be sent to. Okay. So let's just create that real quick, and then I'll explain further how it all connects. So you're going to create track, new, but now you're going to change the stereo, and you're going to click on audio track and change it to auxiliary input. So our auxiliary tracks. Okay. And we're actually going to name this lead bus, because this is actually where our lead vocal tracks that we already created are going to be sent off to. Okay. That's where it's connecting to. So think of it, if you have like 2 dots on the screen, you're connecting one to another. And I'll explain that concept further in a sec here. So let's create this track called lead bus. Perfect. And you see how it kind of threw this lead track in between these 2 tracks. You can actually move these tracks around. So we're going to click and drag this down. Literally that easy. And we're actually going to create one more track, but called /adlibs bus, because guess what? This background and adlib track is going to be sent out to the background and adlibs bus. Okay. So let's create that right now. So we'll click create track, new, stereo, auxiliary, just like how we did before. But now we're going to rename this to /libs bus. And as you can probably imagine, the background ad-libs are going to be sent out to this track. Okay. And mind you, these tracks don't actually carry any audio at all. Okay. Because this just allows you to put more plugins, so you have more flexibility to do more with your audio. Okay. And it just kind of keeps things organized, because you see how here it's broken down into 2 tracks. When you look on the lead bus, it just kind of condenses it down to 1. So if you had multiple lead vocals, and you create multiple lead vocal tracks, you could send them all to the lead bus, and now everything is organized on one track. So now we're going to create another track. So how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can create 2 more tracks. Okay. So we are going to create a track called all vocals. So now this is where all of the vocals are going to be sent to. So track, new, stereo, auxiliary, and we're going to name this all vocals bus. Okay. Perfect. So now all of the vocals are going to be sent here. But here's the cool thing about it, is that as opposed to sending these 3 tracks directly to the all vocals, we're only going to be sending the lead bus and the background ad-libs bus to the all vocals bus. And I'll show you guys how that actually works here in a sec. And the final track we need to create to complete this template is our final master bus or master track, where all of the audio is going to be fed to. So the audio that's coming out of your speakers and into your headphones, that is what the master track is. That just shows you how loud your overall song is, and everything is getting sent there. So once again, stereo, but instead of aux, we're actually going to put master fader. Okay. And just leave it like that. Click create. Boom. And it's going to be red. And that just stands for your master, the final track where everything automatically gets sent to. Okay. So let me explain what's going on. So we just created 4 vocal tracks. Well, 3 plus 1 that you're going to be recording on. And then a few auxiliaries. So these are the buses. And then your master track. So here's a concept I need to explain to you guys. When it comes to tracks and auxiliary tracks, so everything we just created, everything is connected in some sort of way. It's not like this is its own track and this is its own track. Everything kind of flows into one another. And I actually made a diagram just to show you guys And hopefully this makes things a little bit easier to comprehend. So I'm going to zoom out here. Okay. So on screen, we can see 3 circles. And they have 3 different numbers. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Think of each of these circles as different tracks. So this is our first track, this is our second track, and this is our third track. Okay. So let's actually do a little comparison for a sec here. Let's take the 2 lead vocal tracks. Okay. Pretend the 2 lead vocal tracks fall under number 1. Okay. And let's just say the lead bus that we created falls under number 2. We can see how on this diagram, number 1 gets sent off and connects to number 2. Okay. But you can also see that there could be something that's coming into 1 as well. All right. Because for every track within the session, there's an input and an output. So either something's coming into that track or something is going out. Okay. So just like here, there could be something coming into 1 and it can be going out to 2. In this case, if number 1 has our lead vocal tracks and number 2 is our lead bus, it only makes sense that number 1 is going to be sent off to number 2. And that is exactly what's happening within our session. Lead 1 and 2 are going to be sent out to the lead bus. As simple as that. Okay, so the output of lead 1 and 2 is going to be set to the bus. But before we do that, we actually need to give these 3 auxiliary tracks a name or give it a number. Okay, remember how within our diagram, the lead bus was number 2? We're going to be doing something very similar. Okay, so let's find our lead bus. Okay, so this is our lead bus right here. We need to assign it a name so then we know where to send the 2 lead vocal tracks to. So remember how I said everything has an input and an output? This is what that button is right there. You see how it says no input? Because nothing is coming into the track. Because in this case, because there's nothing coming into it, there's no arrow feeding into it. So imagine if this arrow was gone. Okay? There's no input. But when we assign it an input, that's how you know there will then be something that's feeding into it. So let's go back to it and assign it a name, assign it a number, and just assign it something. So you're going to go down to buses. You're going to go to bus. You're going to click on, so these won't already be here. This will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you're going to click on bus 1 and 2, which is what it's going to say right here instead of what it says on my screen. So don't look what it says on my screen. What I'm highlighting will say bus 1 and 2. Click on that, okay? When you click on it, you're going to right click rename, and type in lead.b because now we're giving it a name. Now we're giving it a home, and now we know where to send our 2 lead vocal tracks to. So after you name it lead bus, now we officially have an input, which means that audio is going to be coming in here. But no audio is going to be coming in here unless the output of something else is being sent to this track here. So let's go back to our diagram. So imagine this arrow right here is the input that we just created. But this arrow is useless if there's nothing right here that's being sent to this track right here. So number 1 has to have an output that sends off to number 2. In this case, the 2 lead vocal tracks have to have an output that's set to the name of the bus that we just created. So as we can see on screen, we can only imagine that lead 1 and 2, like I was explaining before, is going to be sent off to lead, the lead bus. And because we already named it, we know where to send these tracks to. So like I said, everything has an input and an output. So we need to send these 2 lead vocal tracks to the lead bus. So we're going to select the output of lead 1 and click lead bus. Look, because we already created it, it automatically pops up because it has a home. So now the output of this is going to be sent off to the lead bus, okay? And because the input is set to lead, but the output of lead 1 is sent there, it's going to be connected. So if we go back to the diagram, think of it like this. We can actually delete that for a sec. Remember how I said number 1 represented our 2 lead vocal tracks? What we did when we set the output to lead bus is we just created this pathway right here, because one needs to get outputted to something else. And that is exactly what we did. We ended up setting the output because it needs to get sent off somewhere else. So now we're going to do the same to lead 2. We're going to set the output, go on bus, and click lead bus. So simply put, these 2 tracks are now being sent to this track right here. Because look, we give it a home, we call it lead bus, and the output of these 2 is getting sent off here. So if you ever don't know where everything is being sent, like if you ever get a session, or well, obviously once you start working with more tracks, if you're like, oh, I'm so confused, like what track is going where and when what's what, always look at the output. So if I'm like, damn, where are these 2 lead vocal tracks being sent to? I have no idea. Well, let me look at the output. So the output says it's being sent off to a lead.b. Where else in my session does it say lead.b? Let me scroll down and look at all the inputs and outputs. Oh, right here, lead.b, which means that these 2 tracks are being sent to this track. Remember, everything is connected. Everything is connected in Pro Tools. So don't ever be confused. Nothing is just standalone. Everything, like, there's always some kind of pathways. Okay. So now that we have that, we're going to be doing the same thing with the backgrounds. Okay. So right now it's just set to the default. So don't worry about these inputs and outputs. But let's go down to the actual background and libs bus. You see how it says no input? Because we haven't assigned it a name. We haven't assigned it a number. We haven't assigned it a home. So let's click on no input. Let's click on bus. And you're gonna click on bus 1, or sorry, you're gonna click on bus 2-3. This will not say backgrounds. This will not say backs.b on your end. This will say bus 3 and 4. You're gonna click on that. Once again, right click, rename, and name it backs.b, okay? And it stands for background bus, okay? Click OK. So now it has a home once again, okay? And now it's able to actually receive audio from another track, just like how we did before. So now we're going to go back up to our background track, and we're going to send it or select the output as the background bus. So we're going to click on out, bus, and look, it pops up right away, background bus. So now this track, the output is now being sent down to this one here. So the background bus is connected to the lead bus, or sorry, the background bus is connected to the background/libs bus. And like I said, once again, if you're ever confused on where this track is going, okay, let me see. So it says it's going to the background. Okay, so where else in the session does it say backs.b? Oh, perfect, right here, the input, because this is receiving audio, which is the input, and this track is exporting the audio, which is output. So import, receiving, export, sending out. Okay, always think of it like that. So perfect. So now everything is more or less connected. You don't have to worry about the record track. If it ever says out 1 and 2, all that means is it's being sent out to out 1 and 2. So when the output is out 1 and 2, it's just getting sent off to the master track. That's all you have to know, because the master track will always automatically be set for out 1 and 2 as output 1 and 2, which means that's outputting out to your main speakers. Okay. So that's what that means. So if you ever see out 1 and 2, it's not actually being sent to another track. It's being sent to the master track. Okay. Everything's connected. Always remember that. Okay. So now that we have our lead tracks and our background and ad-libs track being sent to the buses that we created, to the auxiliary tracks that we created, now what we're going to do is the exact same concept, but remember how we created this all vocals track that all of the vocals are going to be sent to? As opposed to sending the background lead 1 and 2 directly to the all vocals, we're actually going to do something that's going to make our life easier. We're just going to click on these 2 tracks here, because remember how the lead bus and the background and ad-libs bus already has those other tracks being sent to it? It's already receiving audio. So now these 2 tracks, or these 2 buses, the lead bus and the background bus, needs to be sent out somewhere else, because if we look over here to the output, it's not being sent anywhere. It's just being sent out of our speakers right now. But we want to send it to the all vocals track, or the all vocals bus. So just like how we did before, we're going to go down to the output of the lead bus, we're going to go down to bus. But before we do this, we need to go down to the all vocals bus and give it a number, give it a name, just like how we did for the other 2 buses above. So we're going to click on input. We're going to go down to bus. And right here, remember, this will not say all vocals on your end. This will say 1, 2, 3, 4. This will say bus 5-6, right? So click that. Once again, rename. So right click, rename, and call it all vocals, okay? So now it has a home, it has a name, it has a number. So now we can actually send the lead bus and the backgrounds bus to that all vocals, because now that we've given it a home, it has a place to go. So just like how with these other tracks above, we were able to send them out because of the output, these 2 tracks, guess what we're going to do in order to send them to the all vocals? We're just going to select the output. So let's start off with the lead bus. So this output 1 and 2, we want to send it out, but we want to send it out to the all vocals track. So we're going to click this, click bus, and click all vocals. So now this is being outputted or sent out to the all vocals bus, as you can see right here, because we gave it a name. So now we're going to do the same thing with backgrounds and ad-libs. We're going to click output 1 and 2, go down to bus, and click all vocals. So now these 2 tracks, the background bus and the lead bus, are now both getting sent out to the all vocals. So now all the audio that was feeding into these 2 tracks are now feeding into the all vocals, okay? And now the all vocals is being sent out to 1 and 2, which is perfect because this is the last track within the chain of tracks. Because look, we worked our way down. We start from the record, lead 1, lead 2, backgrounds, lead bus, background bus, and the last one is all vocals. So it's only right, and it makes sense that the all vocals is being sent straight to the master. And so this is where it's just going to go out to your speakers, okay? Okay, so here's what we're going to do next. Now that we have our whole template created, this is it. This is literally as simple as it is. Well, I say simple, but once you guys grasp that whole concept of what I just explained on how everything is connected, you'll see it's very easy to understand. And that's it. And if you ever want to create another track, you could. Well, actually, in this version of Pro Tools, you can't create more than 8. So I think we're capped out right now. So we're actually going to just save this as a template now. So let's actually go ahead and save it as a template. So you're going to go up to File, Save as Template. Okay. We're going to rename this to just, let's say, Soko template. And you can call it recording template. You can name it whatever you want. Click category and click under, actually you can leave it under Dolby Atmos. That's okay. It's just trying to give it a spot to save. I'm going to click OK. So once that is created, you're going to now open up this template every time you start a new session. And this will make your life easier because everything will already be set up for you. Okay. So now that we have our template, let's actually talk about how do we actually download beats? Because obviously we can't make a song without downloading a beat. So we're actually going to minimize Pro Tools for a sec. And I'm actually going to run you guys through on how to actually download beats, what I use to download, the software I use, some alternatives, and how to actually buy your beats. Okay, so let's go through the process of how to actually download beats. So one thing I always tell people is that when it's time to actually start creating music, one tip that I always recommend is always find your instrumental first before you start writing. Because the one thing I see with a lot of singers, at least, is that they'll write a bunch of songs and then they'll try and go beat hunting. They'll try and go find a beat on YouTube. But it becomes significantly harder to do that because it is way harder to match your lyrics to an instrumental than to just write directly to an instrumental. So that's why I always say find your beat first, catch a vibe for what you're trying to go for, and then write to that beat. Okay? Always do it in that order because it makes your life so much easier. So let's go on YouTube. So we're going to get rid of this. We are going to go ahead and click the plus tab and we're going to go on YouTube. Okay. So go on YouTube, and if there's a certain inspiration you're going for, let's say if you're trying to not sound like Drake, but if you wanted like a Drake type beat, then you could just type that in. Or let's say if you want like a Kendrick vibe or a J. Cole vibe, or any inspiration of artists that you're trying to match, you're gonna type in their name and then type beat. So for instance, if you're going for a Drake vibe, you're gonna go Drake type beat, and that's it, literally. Or J. Cole type beat, Kendrick type beat, Michael Jackson type beat, any artist type beat, and all of the beats that are kind of in their realm will come up. So let's just take the first one, for instance. Okay, perfect. Okay, so once you have your beat, you're going to then want to download it. So how we actually go about downloading beats is you can either, and I've done this for the longest time, and most of us engineers still do this, is we just go on YouTube to MP3 converter. So YouTube to MP3. My favorite one was always this one. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna copy and paste your beat. That's it. Like, it's literally that simple. So let's just grab the title of the beat again. Okay. Paste, convert. And then it's just going to go ahead and convert it and then download it. But I'm going to actually show you guys another software I use to do this, and I'm going to show you guys how to download it and everything. Okay, so it's converting. Perfect. So click download. And then it's downloading. Perfect. So now we have the song. Beautiful. So now that we have the song, one thing I like to do to keep things organized is I like to keep everything within the same folder. So remember that folder we created for this song, or the folder that Pro Tools automatically created for this song? It's right here. So you want to click on this song, and you actually want to drag and drop the beat that just downloaded into that folder so you can keep everything together. So right here's the beat, drag and drop it into that folder, boom, you're done. Literally as easy as that. Okay, and that way it keeps everything organized within this folder that Pro Tools created. So then every time you open up your session, if you ever want to if you ever need access to your beat for whatever reason, it'll be right there. But let me show you guys actually another software I used that my mentor actually showed me. It's called Media Human. I'm definitely not getting paid by them, but this is just an amazing software. So you're gonna go YouTube to MP3 converter right here. Click on that. Okay, we're gonna actually download the software. It is amazing. Download, beautiful. And now it's downloading. Okay, so let's just open this up. YouTube to MP3. Yep, open that up, drag it to my applications, go through the whole download process, all that good stuff, and then we're actually gonna open it up. So let's just eject that. Media Human. Okay, let's just we'll just open it up from my applications. Media Human. Bro, there we go. Okay, I was about to say, did I not download it? Okay, so we'll just open that up, and then that will now continue to open up. Yep, click open, and we're actually gonna save this to keep in our dock. Okay, so let that open up. So now, as opposed to using the converter, which still works very well, this was nice because this was like a built-in way to just kind of paste your tracks or paste the link of your track, and it downloads right away. So as opposed to using the converter, we can just go into Media Human. Let's actually go back and recopy the link. So copy that, go back into Media Human, and just click paste link. Boom. It's that quick and that easy. In 2 seconds it popped up. So now click download, and now it's just going to re-download to your folders. It's really that easy. I've been using this for everything recently. So we can exit out of that, and then if we go back to our downloads, Media Human actually saved it to another folder. So when it's done downloading, click on a little magnifying glass to locate downloaded file, and it's going to bring you to the folder that Media Human automatically creates to then save all the tracks that you download. So now you can just do the same process, open up the folder where your song is at, and then you can just drag and drop this beat in. Beautiful, just like that. That easy. Okay. So now that your beat is downloaded, I'm going to show you how to actually import it into Pro Tools, and then I'm going to tell you guys which version of the beats you need to buy. So once you're back in Pro Tools and you have now downloaded your beat, you're going to click on File, Import, Audio, and now this screen will pop up. Okay, find the folder in which where your song is. So it's right here. So Songs, Soko, One for All, and then the beat is right here. So click that, click convert, and click open. We have to see if it's going to open up with the amount of tracks that we already have in here. Okay, perfect. So it actually opens up. Cool. Okay. So now that you've imported your beat, here's something I always recommend doing. Okay. Because most of these beats that download straight off of YouTube are very loud, like very, very loud, and are probably going to, it's going to be too overpowering for your vocals. So one thing I always suggest is just, you see where it says volume right here? You're going to click and drag this down to about -10. That's like a good place to start. And now let's run the beat. Perfect. So now it's playing. Beautiful. So now we have the beat in there. So now once it's time to actually buy the beat, this is what we're going to do. Let's go back to where we actually found the beat. So here's the actual video right here. And most producers will actually leave a link to their BeatStars website so you can actually download the beat. Okay, so here it says purchase untagged. Beautiful. So the link, you're going to click on that link and it's going to take you straight to their website or wherever they have their beat. Okay, so here's the beat right here. So when it comes time to actually buying beats, here's all the different versions or leases that you're presented with. And this is where it can get very confusing, because then people are like, yo, Ben, like, which version should I buy? Like, I don't really know what to do. Do I need to get this one? Do I even need to buy a beat? And yes, guys, you do need to buy a beat. Okay, you need to purchase the rights to use the beat so that you can drop it on all platforms. And plus, it's nice to actually support the producers that actually made the beat that you're going on, right? The same way you support us engineers, you should support anybody else you work with. So you're going to be presented with a few options, okay? At the end of the day, what does a lease even mean? Just like when you're leasing your apartment or leasing a car, it just means you have, for a certain amount of time, you have the rights to be able to use that beat or to live in that house or to use that car. But then after a certain period of time, you either have to get out. Here's the thing with leases. I don't believe they expire. I'd have to read the contract to that, but I don't think they expire. Maybe after like 10 years or something. But double check the contract. But here's the one thing I can tell you is that because it's a lease, somebody can actually come in here and actually negotiate and purchase the beat outright. And so the risk that you're taking by buying a lease is that anybody can come along and pay $1,000 and just get the full rights to the beat. I've almost never seen that happen, because most people that are on here buying beats are not going to spend $1,000 on a beat. They just want to get a $30, $50 version just so they can use it and drop it. So many other people are going to buy the same lease that you have. So all of you guys have the rights to use the song. So now it comes down to whose song is going to be better. Hopefully yours. But just beware that there is a slight chance that someone could buy this beat and then you're kind of screwed, because then technically speaking, y'all would have to take down your song. But I mean, those waters become kind of murky. But like I said, it almost never happens. So you don't really need to be scared of that, because I understand most of y'all, limited budget, you just want to get something to have the rights to so you can just start recording and drop it. The only other route that you could take is if you found a producer, you could work with them directly and they could just give you the exclusive rights to whatever beat they make you. But most of the time it's way easier just to go on YouTube and then just buy a lease off of here. So that's that. So let's talk about the different lease options. So the MP3 is just the MP3 version of the file, which is just a compressed file of the beat. So it's not like the highest quality version of the beat that you're going to get, but it's there. The wave is the uncompressed file, and this is the one you need to get, okay? At the very minimum, you need to get the wave lease, okay? It's usually about $50, but this can vary by plus or minus $10, okay? Track stems. What are stems? Stems just means every single individual component of the song. So all the vocals, the beat, every single audio file that's within your project that's active, those are stems. So stems is just everything that makes up the song. It's all the individual components that make up an entire song. That's what stems are. And when you get the stems of the beat, that just means you're getting access to all the instruments. So obviously when you listen to a beat, you're listening to the full thing. But stems allow you to have access to the kick drum and access to the snare drum and access to the guitar, the piano, and every single element that make up the beat. That's what track stems are. And you don't need this. You really don't. The one thing I would say is that if you wanted to do your engineer a favor and get them the stems to mix as well, that would be nice. Because For myself, I love mixing stems, but it's not mandatory. I get it. Mostly all on a budget, and no engineer, I hope no engineer would ever force you to get the stems. If you're like, yo, I want it, cool, get it. And it's great because then I can mix the stems. But the very least, the bare minimum, you need the wave lease, okay? That's really all you need to know for that. I will show you guys another beat website that one of my artists put me on. It's called gja.com, okay? These beats are very good and they're very cheap, okay? So gja.com. Okay? This site obviously is like whatever, but all of these beats right here, nobody can ever exclusively buy any of these beats, ever. And it sorts, and you can sort it by everything, hip hop, pop, R&B. And you start scrolling, you find something you like. And the beautiful thing about this website is that, yo, their beats are actually very good. And you can get full stems, full wave stems for $24, as opposed to the same thing for $70. So I would always recommend go on this site first. I'm not getting paid by them. I'd love to get paid by them, but I ain't getting paid by them. I just want to make your guys' life easy. So go on here, prioritize this website first so you can save some money and get your engineers the stems or just buy the wave file for $12. Easy. So prioritize this, but if you can't find what you're looking for, go on YouTube, type in an artist, and go find the beat you want. So that's that. So those are kind of two websites, and that kind of explains which lease you actually need to get, okay? So the wave lease, bare minimum, not MP3, okay? Remember that. Okay, so after we've downloaded our beat and we've now imported it into our session and we've set the volume correctly, now it's time to actually record. But I want to kind of explain what a few of the buttons are. What are some of these things that are on these tracks, right? So as I've already explained before, we have the input and the output, which I've already explained. That just determines what's coming into that track and what's going out. Input, receiving audio, output, sending out audio, okay? So we've covered that. This right here, VOL, pretty straightforward, stands for volume, okay? And this will actually, if you just click and drag this will adjust the actual volume of that track, okay? And that's for all of these here. So in case you want to make the vocals a little bit louder, a little bit quieter, you can always move the fader. So that's that. On the left side here, let's look at this. So you have the title, which is just the title of whatever the track name is, as I already showed you guys. You can actually recolor these tracks. Funny enough, it's actually kind of fun. So we can actually just recolor this to orange. We can make both of the lead tracks maybe like a purple. And we'll make it the same purple just because it's the same track. Maybe you want to make the backgrounds, I don't know, the bright green. And boom, now it's kind of colorful, you know? It's kind of cool. And now you can kind of put some flavor into it, you know? And you may ask, what are inserts? What's inserts A to E, inserts F to J? What's all this empty gaps right here? What these are is this is actually space for your plugins. So once you get into the world of dealing with some plugins, which I might dig into a little bit later in this, we'll see. You can actually add plugins. And you know what? I'll just show you right now. So plugins, we can add something just called an EQ, and boom. So then the EQ pops up. So if we look on here, you can see that the EQ just got added as one of the plugins on this track. So now whatever you do here is being affected to all the audio that's on that track. So if you want to boost some high end, you can boost some high end, take out some low end. Obviously, this is a very, very oversimplification of what mixing actually is. And I mean, there's a lot more to it that could be in a whole nother course. But I'm just showing you guys that that's where your plugins would go, okay? You guys don't really need to worry. At this stage in the game, for you guys that are just starting, most of you guys just want to be able to record and just be able to just hear something back. Because I'm assuming that most of you guys are in the position now where you just want to be able to record, you just want to be able to hear yourself, and that your main intention is to actually send off your tracks to another engineer. And so because your goal is to send your tracks off to an engineer, you don't really need to put any plugins. You can play around with it. I'd actually recommend that you try and play around with it. You know, research some more YouTube videos. I might eventually come out with my mixing video and show you guys a few things here and there, like a super just kind of how to mix 101 crash course type deal. But in the meantime, definitely play around with it if you want. But for this course, I'm just going to show you guys how to record, okay? I just want to show you that's where your plugins would go. And remember how we created the lead bus and the background bus earlier in the video or earlier in this tutorial? That just allows you to just put more plugins. That's really what it's used for, to control the overall volume of those tracks and to just put more plugins here. So then you can put another channel strip, maybe a compressor, and you just want to start putting other plugins. So now not only do you have plugins on here, but you'll have plugins on the actual track itself. So that's really what that does. It just allows you to put more plugins and also control the overall volume of the lead buses. Okay. Other than that, what else do you guys need to know? If we look right here, these two buttons are going to become very important for this track, because when it's time to record, we're going to click this red button, which enables the track for recording, and the I to track the input of what's coming into it. This S button just solos the track. And when you click that, you're only going to be hearing anything that's on this track here. If you solo the lead one, you're going to be listening to everything that's on this track. And you can solo multiple tracks. Like I can click solo, and now you're only listening to audio from these two tracks, okay? So unselect those, and now everything is back to normal. If you want to mute a track, let's say if you had some backgrounds and you didn't want to hear them, you could just mute it and just be like, okay, cool, let me just hear everything else minus the backgrounds and ad-libs. Boom, it's muted. And when you want to unmute them, unmute it. A quick shortcut to know whether something is muted or not is if you look at the top of your screen right here, this little M, if this is highlighted, it means that something is muted within your session. You can just click that, or sorry, I guess you can't click it. I always thought you could, to be honest. This is basically just like a warning indicator that something is muted. So go back and look at all these M's that are on the tracks and see what's highlighted and muted. Okay. Let's say if something was soloed, the S indicator would come on now, and this button is actually clickable. So you can click that button to remove any solo tracks that are just soloed within the session. And that's a quick way to get rid of that. So now that we've done that, I want to show you guys how to actually set up your session to record. And I'm going to go over what some of these other buttons mean. So when it's time to actually record, Pro Tools needs to be able to receive audio through your interface in order to record and to send audio out through your interface. So in order to do that, we're going to click Setup. We're going to click Playback Engine. And the two most important things that you need to remember is that your playback engine needs to be set to your interface. So click on this and make sure that it says Scarlett Focusrite or whatever interface you're using. In my case, it's the Mo 2 M2. And then your buffer size is at 128. If your interface is not popping up here, you need to make sure that your computer is running everything through your interface already, okay? I already showed that in the last video, but I'll quickly show you right now. You have to go to your sound settings, go to output, click on your interface, click on your input, click on your interface, and then you're good to go. For those of you that have this Scarlett Focusrite interface, you would have already seen how to do that in the previous video. So go watch the How to Build Your Setup 101 crash course, and I run you guys through in that video how to actually do that. So now that we're back here, we want to make sure that the actual interface is set to your, you want to make sure that Pro Tools is set to your interface. So your playback engine, should say Scarlett or whatever interface you're using, buffer size 128, okay? Sometimes when you open up Pro Tools, your interface may not be selected, okay? It may be something else. So let's just say, for instance, it's a Mac Mini, okay? It is actually going to ask you to restart your session every time you want to switch your playback engine, okay? So let's just say you, also by the way, when this screen pops up right here, the session notes or whatever, just always click no. So once you're back in your session, let's just say, let's say you open up Pro Tools and it wasn't already selected to your interface. You're going to go back up to Setup. You're going to click Playback Engine, and then like, oh, that's not my interface. Let me switch it. So you're going to go to your interface, click it. Would you like to like basically reset your session? Yes, because Pro Tools now needs to reset so then it can start flowing audio through your interface and you can actually start recording. So let's go back up. They'll just double check, Setup, Playback Engine. Cool, so now it's going through our interface. And the reason why you want to have the buffer size at 128 is because when you're recording, if it's anything higher than 128, like if it's like 256 or 512, you're going to hear a delay in your headphones. And for those of you that have some experience recording, you'll know that sometimes you turn on the mic and it's like, why do I hear a delay? Like it's not in real time. This is why. It's always because of your buffer size, okay? So make sure that's at 128 or lower. So 128, perfect. So click OK. So now we're ready to record, but I want to go over some of the buttons on here that you need to have selected and just some good things to know, okay? So let's just look at the top of your screen. Let's start right here with this P, okay? This probably won't say P. This will just have like a red circle. Make sure you right click on it and click quick punch. The quick punch will allow us to record anywhere on the session, okay? You don't really have to worry about any of those buttons. This right here will show you the time of wherever your cursor is at. So you see this white blinking cursor, wherever that's blinking, it will show you at what time that cursor is at. And so even if you're recording and you stop here, you'll know that you're 45 seconds into the song, or a minute 31 in the song, or 2:24 into the song. I like to keep it on time just because I want to know how long into the song I'm at, but you can always switch this to bars or whatever, even though it's kind of confusing. And I personally don't use it, but hey, suit yourself. These buttons right here, these always need to be highlighted, these three, because these will allow you to, these will give you the tools to properly edit your audio, like make cuts and fades and all this stuff that I'm going to show you guys how to do. If it's ever selected on something else by accident, you can always come back and click this top part right here and make sure that's always selected on this, okay? Because if it's not selected on this, things are going to be like all weird and you're going to try and edit your audio, but it's not going to work and you're going to be wondering what's happening. And then you're going to be like, Ben, what's happening? My Pro Tools ain't working. And then I'm going to fix your problem. You see this little button right here, how it kind of looks like a waveform? Essentially what that does is that it increases or decreases the size of the waveforms, okay? So you see this, it doesn't increase or decrease the volume. It literally doesn't do anything except for the actual visual of how the waveforms look. So if you click the up arrow, it makes it bigger. You click down, it makes it smaller, okay? That's kind of really all you need to know for that. Perfect. So let's go over to this right here where it says slip and grid. If you click grid mode, it automatically puts all these lines in your session. This just allows you to snap the audio to one of these lines. Like, it's useful for certain things once you're trying to, like, let's say, match the tempo of the beat to the grid or to snap your audio to certain things, but I don't really think you guys are going to need it for what you guys are going to be using it for. So I usually just keep this in slip and I work within slip, but I mean, you can play around with both and see which one feels better. Cool. So now that we have that, now let's get to the actual recording. So we went over some of the basic buttons that always need to be selected. So really everything at the top of your screen right now, keep it as it is. You don't ever need to change it at all. Make sure this is P, keep this in time just so you can kind of know where you're at unless you want to change it. All these buttons are always selected. That's a must. Every little thing that you see, just match these settings and you'll be okay, literally. So now let's get to what are some of these buttons on the actual record track. And this is important because we need to know this and what they do, okay? And now I'm kind of revisiting what I just spoke about not too long ago. So this red button, like I was mentioning before, basically turns on the track. It allows it to actually receive audio and actually record. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to click this red button. So now it's activated, it's armed, and it's on, okay? We're going to click this I button, which allows you to monitor the audio that's coming in through it in your headphones, okay? If we go over here, you see this volume knob? All this does is control how much of yourself are you hearing within your headphones. If you want to hear yourself some more, you turn it up. If you want to hear yourself less, turn it down. Literally that simple. Okay, so now we actually need to record. So this track, so remember how every track has an input and it can receive audio from somewhere? This record track needs to be able to receive audio from our interface, okay? So we need to make sure that this input is selected to the input of wherever we plugged our mic into. So if your mic is plugged into input 2, this needs to be set to in 2, okay? So you're gonna click on this, you see how it's already on interface, and go over, and my mic is already plugged in to input 2. So we're gonna click that. And make sure on your interface and then that if you're using a condenser microphone, and if you guys are using the setup that I recommended you, then you definitely are using a condenser microphone. But if you're not using that setup, make sure that you go look at the title of the mic that you bought. And if it says dynamic, make sure that the 48 volts is not turned on, because a dynamic microphone like this does not need a power to turn it on, but a condenser does. So if you're using a condenser microphone, click the 48V volt button or your mic will not receive audio. And it's funny how something as small as that goes a long way. Like I've had artists be like, bro, my mic's not working. Like, why is it not receiving audio? And I'm like, is that 48V button on? They're like, nope. And I'm like, click that. And it turns on your mic. So I'm going to give you guys a live demo on actually recording. So my mic is already turned on, as you can see. So if you look right here at this bar, it's already receiving audio. So if I snap, see how it's moving? We can see the audio is actually getting picked up on this track. So let me actually bring my mic into frame. I want to make sure that you guys can see this. Cool. So let's go back to Pro Tools and you'll be able to see that bar moving again. So look at this green bar. Cool. It's picking up audio. So this is actually the setup that I would recommend you guys do when you're recording yourselves. Because when you're recording yourselves, it's already hard enough. You need to be able to have a workflow that makes sense. So I'd always recommend is having your computer right here with your keyboard, mouse interface, and your mic right next to you. So then you can record, talking to the mic, sing, rap, do what you do, and go back and edit. Okay? So when we're back in our session, if you ever want to skip the different parts within your song, just click with your cursor wherever you want to go, okay? If you want a quick way to get to the beginning of your session, click the enter button on your keyboard and it takes you to the beginning, okay? And one small thing, if you want to zoom in and out of your session, you can click T, the letter T to zoom in. So click it, boom, and you see how it zooms in. And click R to zoom out, okay? So let's say if I want to zoom in over here, I can zoom in and see this audio, or I can zoom back out and get a more overview of the track, okay? So let's actually do the demo now. So I showed you guys how to set up your mic, how to turn it on, how to make sure Pro Tools is actually receiving audio through the interface and sending audio back out the interface. I showed you how to turn on the record track by clicking those two buttons and how to set the input so it can be receiving signal from your mic. And now it's time to actually record. And I'm going to show you guys how I do it in my sessions and how you guys will do when you're recording on your own, okay? So let's talk about one more other thing. This might be self-explanatory, but I have to say it anyways. In order to play what's in your session, click the space bar and you can see that it's moving. Cool? Good. I'm glad that's understandable. All right. So let's say we want to start recording, okay? If you're using a full-length keyboard, and that's the keyboard with like the number pad on the right side, your record button is going to be the number 3 on that number pad on the right side. Guys, this is Editing Ben here. I totally forgot one key shortcut when recording. So for those of you that are using your full-length keyboard, the one with the number pad, I was saying in the video that to record, you click the space bar and then you click the number 3. But if you are using a regular keyboard like this, it is Command space to start recording, and that's on Mac, Command space. I'm sure it's the same on PC if you have a regular keyboard, or if you're using your keyboard on your Mac, it's the same thing. So Command and space, and that will start recording, and then you'll be good to go. Just want to quickly jump in and tell you guys that, because I feel like for most of y'all that might just be doing this on a regular keyboard, y'all would have been like, how do I record on this keyboard? So anyways, guys, keep watching the video. Hopefully you're enjoying it so far. So when it's time to record, obviously you're gonna be next to your mic, you're gonna click space and then a number 3. And you see how it's red as the cursor is moving? That means that it's picking up audio right now. And then you'll be able to see that the waveform is also increasing in size and everything. But here's an important part when you're recording. As you're talking into your mic, you see how this green bar is kind of low, kind of like hovering around the bottom here. You want to make sure that that green bar is at least halfway or 3/4 up on this meter, just to make sure you're getting a healthy signal. And usually the test that I would recommend is actually singing your song bar for bar, okay? So as we start to do that, I'm going to start to increase the gain as I'm singing at that volume so that we can monitor where that green bar is hitting, okay? So let's just actually delete everything that's here, okay? So you're going to click on your audio, literally just click at the bottom half of it, click delete, and we're going to go to the beginning of our session, okay? So let's start the test. So remember, spacebar number 3 to start recording. And now I'm just going to keep talking. I'm going to pretend like this is the test. As I continue to talk right now, I'm going to keep turning up the gain knob. Watch that green bar increase and decrease, okay? Okay, let's start with the test. So I'm just gonna keep on talking, and right now I'm actually slowly increasing the gain knob right now, and you can start to see as that green bar starts to get higher and higher and higher as I'm just continuing to talk at this volume. And you'll see that at a certain point it's just gonna get as high as you need it, right? And right here would be a pretty good level. I'd actually probably recommend maybe turning it down just a little bit because that seems a little hot. And then at this point, you're at such a good level when you're about halfway or above that, where Pro Tools is receiving enough audio, but you're also not peaking and hitting red. Because the last thing you'd want to do is do this, where you're turning it all the way up and then you're just hitting the red. You see how this is getting maxed out, that green bar, and it's just only hitting red? That's going to sound disgusting. So don't do that. Turn it back down till the audio is hitting about halfway or maybe just under 3/4. And then you're at like a really good volume that you're sitting at, where there's enough volume coming into Pro Tools and you're still loud enough so then everything is all good. And you can even see in the waveforms how it's going all crazy. So once you set your gain, you know that you're properly ready to record now. Your mic is set, the gain is set, and we're good to go. So let me show you guys how to actually properly record with punches. And what are punches? Punches just means that you're not recording straight through, because I know some people think that you have to like rap one whole entire verse or an entire hook at once. You don't. You can actually chop it up. You can do a few bars at a time and then record again and then record again and do just bar after bar after bar after bar if you wanted to. So let me show you a live demo on how sessions usually go and how you'll structure this. And then it'll actually make a lot more sense now why we created 2 different lead vocal tracks, okay? So let's go to the beginning of our session. We'll click enter. The gain is set to a good place, so that's perfect. So now let's pretend we're recording a few bars at a time. So we're gonna click space, number 3. Yeah, this is bar 1. I'm singing bar 1, going to bar 2, singing bar 2, singing bar 3. Now it's time for bar 3. And then click space to stop the audio. Boom. Cool. So now I just recorded 3 bars. And you see how the audio is on the record track. This record track is only for recording audio, not for listening to it back. So when you're done recording that, you're gonna hover over the bottom half of this audio, and you see how it becomes a hand. Click and drag it down. Boom. And this is where your audio is going to sit for you to listen to it back in your headphones, okay? So then you can click anywhere you want to listen back to any part of it. Let's just say we want to listen from the beginning of it. You're gonna click enter, space to playback, okay? Now pretend like you're listening to it. It's in your headphones, okay? Sounds pretty good. I like those bars. Okay, perfect. Let me punch in my next 3 bars. Okay, so bar 4, 5, and 6. So let's just zoom in. So let's click T. Becomes a little bit bigger. And now you can actually record. You can start here and actually continue recording and then just drag it down. And then that's what punches are. Punches is just recording separate audio clips and then dragging it down so then it all sounds like one, okay? So pretend like we just record our first 3 bars here. I'm gonna click somewhere halfway on this one and start recording so then I can continue and do my next 3 bars. So bar 4, 5, and 6. So let's do that right now. So space, number 3, perfect. Now I'm getting ready to record. Yada, 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 da, 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 da. Yeah, bar 4, A, same bar 4, bar 5, A, same bar 4, bar 5, bar 6, I'm singing bar 6. Okay, stop, boom. And now I can go in here and I can actually zoom in a little bit more, click T, and you see how this audio right here, and I can click and highlight this, is kind of overlapping with this. I don't like that. So we're gonna first drag down this audio clip to lead 2, and you see how this audio is overlapping, and it actually overlaps right here. So it overlaps with that and that. I'm gonna zoom in one more time, so click T, and now we can better see it. So I'm gonna kind of click right here just before this audio starts, click, highlight this whole thing, delete, and it's that easy. And now you just created 2 different punches, and that's what you're looking at right now. These are 2 different audio clips that are now in your session that when you play it back, it'll all sound like just one take, right? So now you can play your audio, listen to it, okay? cool. Okay, cool. Bar 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4 singing bar 4. Okay. Okay, 6 singing bar 5. Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, singing bar 6. Cool. And now you want to do 7, 8, 9. So now we can click somewhere halfway on this audio clip and just do the same thing again. Click space, click 3, and now I'm getting ready for my next bars. Okay, A, bar 7, A, bar 7, A, bar 8, bar 8, 8, 8, bar 9, bar 9. I don't know how to sing, so I'm just singing bar 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we just stop it. I'm like, okay, cool, I like that. So now same thing. So now we're going to drag this audio down to the lead 1. And remember, you're just dragging the audio down to lead 1 and 2 because you just want it to be more organized so then nothing overlaps. So then you can create clean punches like this. So now remember how you see how all this audio is overlapping again? We're going to come right here, drag it out and just delete that. And now you have your bar 7, 8, 9. Boom. That's it, literally. And you're just repeating that process. So I just zoomed out. So zoom out with the letter R, and now you can see the 3 punches we just made, and now you're on your way to completing a full song. Okay, so you have bar 1, 2, 3, bar 4, 5, 6, bar 7, 8, 9, and you're just completing that process over and over and over again till you get to the end of the song, and it's that easy to record. So now that we're done recording, we want to turn off this record track because you see how it's still on. You're going to go back and disarm it by turning off the red, okay? When red is on, it means it's armed. When it's off, it's disarmed, okay? And that will automatically turn off the I button as well, okay? So now that that track is off, let's pretend that our song is finally complete and we want to export this song. But remember, it's not export, we're bouncing the song, okay? So you're going to go up to File, Bounce Mix, okay? This means to export the mix. And now this screen will pop up, okay? Just confirm that everything's okay, and it will, because this file name will be the name of your song. It'll just tell you that it's in a wave and where it's getting sent out to, and then you're perfect. So you can actually keep all these settings the same, okay? If you want to hear your song back out loud as it's bouncing or as it's exporting, turn this off, okay? When you click offline, it just means that it'll just export a little bit faster and you won't hear it play back out loud, okay? So let's just bounce this mix. And this will actually bounce out the entire song that's in your session. So now it bounced out everything from the start all the way to the end. So now that our song is done and we have the finished product and that it's saved now, we can go ahead and save our session. So Command S on Mac, and I don't know what it is on PC, or you can click File and just click Save Session. So now we can actually just close out our session, okay? I don't think there's anything else. Actually, I do want to go over one more thing. I'm going to go over some troubleshooting things right now before I show you where our song is, okay? So a couple different things just to kind of make sure you guys don't freak out. If your guys' session ever lags or it's glitchy or like it just sounds weird, like someone's like, you might get a call in the middle of a session. Like I know people who use Mac, like I'll be working sometimes and I'll get a FaceTime call or a regular phone call and it just stops my whole session and it might like glitch out a little bit. One, always try to restart your session. If you boot up your session and you're playing the audio and it sounds like crinkly or like I don't know how to describe it. Like it just doesn't sound clean. It sounds like it's a bunch of static or something. Go up to Setup, click Playback Engine, and remember how we were talking about the buffer size? Now that we're not recording anymore, you can click 512 because this will save a little bit of CPU on your computer and be a little bit easier. And then click OK. And what this will do is that static noise or that crinkling noise or whatever that sound is should go away. Okay, so once again, Playback Engine, you can just select 128 and then maybe even select back, click OK, and that should fix that issue if that ever happens. Another setting I'd want to try and that I'd love for you guys to turn on is that autosave. Because remember earlier in the video how I was telling you that Pro Tools automatically saves your sessions? There is actually a way to make sure that it backs up or saves more frequently. So we're going to click Preferences. Let me just try and find this real quick. Perfect. So you click operation at the top of the screen and go down to where it says auto backup. Okay. You want to make sure that you can, I would actually suggest that you make this like 100, and that every 5 minutes, every 5 minutes is okay. But make sure you click keep 100 most recent, because if it's only 10 or 20, like what if you're trying to recall something from way back? So at least the more you save or the more you back up your session, the better, because then you can always go back to the 100th time it auto saved, right? And then you'll be okay. And at least you can save yourself in that case, right? And auto saving your sessions doesn't take up any space, because you're just saving the actual PTX file. You're not saving, like, I don't know how to describe that actually. Like the actual session itself, it isn't a lot of like it's like 10 megabytes, because I think what actually gets saved is the audio files to the actual folder. So you don't really need to worry about this taking up a lot of space, even if it's saving like 100 versions of it. Just make sure that's turned on. Other than that, I don't think you guys really need to know anything about all this stuff. This stuff is just more advanced that I don't even really touch. Yeah, I would say that's all you guys need to know. Just change the auto save backup and you're good there. So now your session will automatically save every 5 minutes, and it will save up to 100 versions of it, which is good. What else? Okay, cool. So we just finished bouncing our song. So now we're going to actually find it. So we can actually close out our session. So imagine we're done for the day and we're just like, okay, time to wrap up, time to take it easy, time to just get the song onto my phone or send it to somebody. Let's close out Pro Tools. So let's make sure we save it. So Command S or whatever it is on PC. Let's close out Pro Tools real quick. Let's close me out real quick. Let's close out the internet real quick. And let's actually go back to our folder. So we're going to go back to our songs folder. Go back to the folder that Pro Tools created for this song. And now remember how I was talking about bounced files? And remember how we just bounced our song just now? There it is. Your song is right there. So your finished song, after all the hard work you just put in, will be sitting right here for you in this folder. And now you can do whatever you want with it. You can right click on it. I know obviously this is how you do it on Mac. I can click share. And usually what I like to do at the end of all my sessions is I'll send it to the artist. So I'll click share, AirDrop, and of course most people have iPhones. So then it'll just automatically, let's see if my phone will pop up if I do this. Let's see. So you can turn on AirDrop on your phone, and there you go, Ben's iPhone. So now I can just click it. Let's see if I can give you a live demo of this right now. I'm going to switch the camera to my face and show you guys this right now. Let's see. And you see how it's like asking me, I know it's a little bit blurry, but we're just going to click accept, and it's just loading, and now it pops up, and then you're literally done, and it's that easy. And that's it, guys. It's really that simple to then just grab your song, and now you're just good to go. Now you can play it back. You can enjoy listening to it. And you guys are pretty much good to go. And that is the basics on how to use Pro Tools from start to finish, on how to download Pro Tools, what you need to know, how to set up everything. And let me just kind of go over one more time if we're about to start a new song. And that process will be the same for everything. So let's go through and let's start a new session. Okay, so now that you guys know how to actually record in Pro Tools, I'm going to go through everything just once more, real quick, how to set up a new song and what will pop up. So we create our main folder called songs. We're going to open up Pro Tools. Let's pretend this is a new day, a new dawn for me, and I'm feeling good. Doom, 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 doom. All right, so now that we open up Pro Tools, I'm ready to start a new song. So remember how I said you're met with this screen? But now we're going to click Create from Template, because we created the template that I showed you. We're going to click on Soko Template, or whatever you named your template. And now we're going to call this, I don't know, what's my new song called? We're going to call the new song Board. Like an actual board. Today, once again, is May 18th, 2024. And now it's set to my template. Perfect. All the settings are still the same. Perfect. And now it's going to ask me, once again, where do I want to save this song? Click Create. And of course, I want to save it to the one folder we created where we're going to be putting all our songs. Click save once again. Click no every time the screen pops up. Always click no. And now our screen pops up. And the beautiful thing about this is that this brings us back right to the session that we created. So everything is still the same as when we created it. And I mean, all the colors aren't here just because you'd have to resave the template. So just to show you guys how to resave a template, let's say you want to change the color again. Okay, so I just fast forwarded and we just changed all the colors. And now we just want to resave this as the new template. So click save as template. We're going to call this Soko template, and you're going to just rename it the same name as your other template. Click OK, and it's going to ask you, do you want to replace it because you named it the exact same thing? You're just going to click replace. And now that you did this once, you never have to do this again. And you are all good to go. So then after this, you can just exit out and you're pretty much done. And then now you know how to actually, we're going to just save this. And then if we go back to the songs folder, everything is right there. All the songs that we're ever going to create are going to pop up. You click on the song that you want to reopen. You click on the PTX file and you're done. That's it. And that's pretty much it, guys. Like, now you guys know how to actually record it in Pro Tools. And this is the first amazing step you guys need to just embark on this wonderful journey of knowing how to do it yourself, right? And really the only thing that's missing from this is the next step, right? Because now that you're done recording your song, you really have one of two options. You can either go down the route of learning how to mix it yourself, which I definitely recommend you guys try to do by, you know, going on YouTube, finding different videos, tutorials on how to mix, and start to get your head together on how to actually do certain things yourself, because it's exciting. And then hopefully sooner rather than later, I'll create a mixing course that will also go more in depth into some of the other mixing things that I wish I was taught, right? And I can give you guys that knowledge as well. And so, guys, go run with this. Thank you guys so much for watching this. You guys took an amazing step to just invest in yourself and be willing to actually learn something new and actually, you know, hopefully do some big things with this. And so go take it and run. Remember, guys, the process is the same no matter what you do every time you start a new song. If you guys ever need any help with anything, you ever get lost or stuck or you're confused, I will be here to help you. And I will probably also do some live mixing sessions, and you guys can ask me questions and start to learn more about Pro Tools and mixing and all the stuff that I do. But this will be an amazing first step, and you guys killing it on your own and be able to do what you got to do. So go run with this. I wish you guys the best. I'm here if you need me, and I'll see you guys on the other side.